One fine day, you'll look at me.
Now the next thing I'm going to do, I've decided to improvise a few more ingredients to kind of make this Valentine's themed dish a little extra red, a little extra flavorful. I decided to use the little grape tomatoes instead, and I'm just going to cut them in half. I think that they're a lot more flavorful, especially this time. So I'm going to just have them until I get about a cup worth, or maybe a little more if you want. Why not, right? Again, if you have it, why not cook it? Another thing I got was a red pear. I think that the flavors of cinnamon and the allspice and the flavors that we're making in this Moroccan dish would lend really well to a fruit like a pear that also tastes really good when it's warm or cold. So after you wash that off, I'm just going to cut it up, you know, dice it up, and I'm keeping obviously the skin on because that's half the fun. We want to see that beautiful color. And the next thing that I'm adding is these are just some red beans, and I just thought that would be, again, another kind of like soft texture. These beans have 7 grams of protein in a half of a cup, so that paired with the 6 grams of protein from our couscous, and of course the greens of our beets and the beets themselves. I mean, who needs to worry about protein when you eat vegan, honestly? As long as you're cooking well, you're going to have everything that you need. So we're going to add some of these beans into the salad as well. I was also considering using either chickpeas, because those are used in Moroccan dishes all the time. So if you don't like red beans, use chickpeas. Who doesn't love them? And the other thing you could also substitute with is some red lentils. So any of those I'm sure would be great and delicious. And we'll see you right back here in a few minutes. So I've taken our beets off of the stove. I'm cooling them and straining them in a colander, get them nice and cooled down so we can handle them in a little bit. I took our beets and tomato and bean mixture and added that to a humongous bowl. You just get the biggest bowl that you can find in your kitchen so that you don't stir things right out over the side at the end when we're done. So I have that, and now it's time to use the beet greens. Now if you are a little skeptical of these, if you've never had them and you don't quite want to use them, you can leave them out of this recipe. What we're going to do is just chop the stems off the beet greens. So we're just going to try and retain the big leafy part. Go ahead and do that. And once we're done taking all the stems off, I won't do the whole thing right now. You know how stems come off. So we're going to have a bunch of the greens left. And I'm just going to kind of roll them up into like a little, like a green log, I guess, if you can see that. And just kind of cut through them into manageable bite-sized pieces. Okay, so they're going to look like this. And we're going to do that with the whole. We have the greens nice and chopped up. We are going to steam them. This is a vegetable steamer. This thing here that looks kind of like a flying saucer you've probably seen in your parents' house. I know my mom had one in her kitchen forever, and I like never understood what the heck it was, and she said, oh, it steams vegetables, and I was like, how does a spaceship steam vegetables? But okay, here's how it works. And you can still find these. You can probably find them at like a thrift store for $1, or you know, Bed Bath & Beyond or Target or any kind of store like that. What you're going to do is fill some water in a pot that does have a lid to go with it, and the water is going to go underneath the level of these little feet. If you can see that the steamer has these little kind of legs on it. So what you're going to do is put a little bit of water in the pot, put the steamer down in, and once it's down inside the pot and it's hovering over the water, like again a flying saucer, you're going to open it up. It will expand. Okay, it expands in the pot. So now it looks like that, and you just throw your greens in there. What you're going to do is heat this up so that the water boils, and that boiling water is going to come through all the little holes and steam whatever you have in the top. With greens, you want to be really careful not to over steam them because they don't take very long at all. So you should be able to hear the water boiling, let it go maybe 2 or 3 minutes, take the lid off and check on them. You don't want them to be completely shriveled and wilted down. You want them to be steamed. They're going to probably turn a really vibrant color, so in this case they're going to be even more vibrant green, and then take them out. It should only take a few minutes. Okay, so we have the red beet greens steaming on the stove right now, and our beets that we have cooked are nice and cooled and ready to handle, and they're, oh, look at this, this one has a little tail. They're a lot easier to handle now too, and they're really soft. You'll notice when you first started them, they're like really hard, kind of like baseballs or something, and now they're nice and soft. So what we're going to do is just cut off both ends. Get all of that stem off, that little tip where the tail was. This is just the bowl of the pieces I'm not using. Okay, so now it's nice and flat like this, and just take any kind of a vegetable peeler, and we're just going to peel the outside. And it does come off really easily, so it's not going to take very much force. And again, just be careful you don't peel, oh, I'm dropping it, having a little trouble here. You don't peel over your fingers, because that really hurts. So just take your time, and I'll just take a couple seconds. This was a big one. And then you should have it all done, and we're going to do that with all of them. Another thing, be careful, because your hands are going to get messy. If you have rubber gloves or something, like doctor gloves, put them on. I don't have them, so I'm just making the sacrifice here. Okay, so we've peeled all of the red beets. We have the greens nice and steamed. Maybe a little over steamed because I was doing this, so sorry, this isn't the Food Network, people. I'm doing everything by myself in real time, so just bear with me, okay? But what we're ready to do now is the most exciting, fun part. We have sliced all of the beets, sliced them up. The other thing we're going to do now to make them heartbeats is get a heart-shaped cookie cutter. Now this cookie cutter is not what I was hoping for. I was hoping for kind of the simple like metal ones in a nice small shape, but I had gone to 6 stores today, and actually no, 7. I went to 7 stores, and this is the only one I can find, and it's 5 days before Valentine's Day. People in this area do not love cookies, I guess. But find just a simple heart-shaped cookie cutter, and we're just going to press them right down into the middle of the beets, and when they pop out, we're going to have really cute heartbeats. Ah, isn't that the cutest? So I'm going to show you what those look like. We're going to do all of them, and then we're going to assemble everything, and we will finally be finished. Alright everybody, everything is cut and cooked and steamed and mixed, and we are ready to assemble. So remember that I have the tomatoes and pear and beans inside this great big bowl. We're going to need it because we're putting all this stuff in there. Let's see, first we're going to go ahead and add the couscous. You can, add as little or as much as you want. I just don't want it to be overwhelmed by that. Okay, the dressing that we mixed up earlier, I'm going to just add a little to the bowl, mix it around. Get everything kind of good and coated so it'll all coat much easier. Stir that up. Okay. Oh my gosh, it smells really good. Wait till you get to this point. Oh my gosh, it smells really good. Okay, I'm very excited. We're going to go ahead and put those beet greens in now. Again, optional if you want to use them. We're going to add our heartbeats to the mix. Get everything mixed in good, and then we're going to add the rest of the dressing. Okay, so we are finished, and I have plated, and let me just remind you, this makes a huge amount of food, okay? So you're gonna eat very well for a few meals. But I have strategically placed some of the beets right on the top, and that's what our final result looks like. The other great thing is that the beet juice just covers up, all of the greens, so it does have a really pretty, rich, deep red, purpley color, perfect for Valentine's Day. I hope you enjoy this.
One fine day, you'll look at me, and then you know our love was meant to be. One fine day, you're gonna want me for